What's going on, traders? So I'm going to go over my week's trades and the stocks I was watching. So Tuesday, I was watching MBRX for a long breakout. You can see that it has run in the past, and I was looking for a big move. So it had a gap up, I think, on some news, and I was looking to see if it was going to make another move higher. But as you can see here at the open, it's just kind of dumping. It touched that pre-market high level right there, that 2.25, and then it kind of got stuffed. So it's kind of half watching it, watching some other stocks as well. So I wasn't entirely focused on this. I did want to make a couple of trades on it. Kind of just watching again some other stocks here. Not kind of half paying attention. I was a little afraid to buy because I didn't know how low it was going to go. So it got a little bit under $2, and then you'll see it's kind of making a little bit of a reversal, or trying to, I should say. So it's trying to get over this 215 support resistance that it found pre-market. And I want you to keep an eye on the tape here. So see how the tape, it's kind of, there's a lot of white. That's the algorithms and the high frequency trading machines, and I'm not interested in trading against a lot of that. I want to see a lot of green printing, which means people. That's retail traders that are buying. So here it kind of got stuck at that 215, and it's starting to form this asymmetrical triangle type pattern. So what I'm looking for is a breakout above, excuse me, a breakout above this trend line, and then through that resistance. And I also want to see increasing volume when that happens. So see how the tape's kind of just slowing down. There's some selling going on. Not a whole lot of buying, right? So there you go. It breaks down beneath that trend line, and it dumps kind of back below VWAP, and it's dumping back towards the $2 mark. So knowing that $2 has kind of acted as support before, I should have taken a buy here around $2. So you'll see it's printing red, 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 and then you start getting some green in there. So that means people are trying to buy. They're trying to hold that support level. There's not a whole lot of level 2 action going on. So for me, it's either that there was maybe a hidden buyer, but this didn't give me the indication that, hey, this is strength on the bid, right? Well, it did obviously move up, and it gets through this trend line. I'd like to see a little more volume though, right? So I like to see it get over VWAP and all that resistance. And if it closes over and then moves up, that's more an entry that I would take at that point. So you see now there was real big bid at 210, and the tape, you see, just kind of took off, and it's pushing that 215 again. So here's the increase in volume that I want to see. You see it got that pop over 215. It's up to 220. And now it's probably going to retest that 215 area, which I would expect to see here. So there's our retest. And now when it started to kind of fall off, I say fall off, when it starts losing that support, not holding the support, I probably would have gotten out there. So had I bought around the $2, I might have made a dime. I probably would have got scared and got out when that happened right there around 215. And if you watch it here, or you've got a little more patience than I do, and you hold through this, you'll see that there's, and I guess a little pullback would be expected here. It made, that's almost 10% of the stock's value, right? So it's almost a 10% move there. You should expect a little bit of a pullback. Pulls back to VWAP, and then it pops over that resistance level. Now, look at the tape. The tape is just green, 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 green. This is what we want to see, and you'd want to see that all the way through this push. So you see where people are buying, and then the sellers start coming in around 2.25. So seeing this, I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably going to get out here because this thing's about to roll over. With this much volume, you would have expected it to continue through. And you see that it didn't do that. So you see where it gets stuffed at that pre-market high of 2.25. The sellers were really holding it down right there. When you start seeing these long wicks, that's when it's time to make an exit, because you see that it does turn around and it dumps. So that's the kind of move I get worried about when I'm looking for these momentum plays. So you got to really be quick about entries and exits. So on Wednesday and Thursday, and actually even Friday, AEZS made this real nice 3-day move. You can see it had gapped up from down here around $1, and it made a couple points over the course of the 3 days. So pretty rare to see a 3-day move like this on such a inexpensive stock. I didn't trade this one at the opening on either day, but I made a ton of scalps on it kind of through the middle of the day, both on Wednesday and Thursday. So on Wednesday, I made 4 or 5 scalps on this, and this thing had a lot of strength. There was a lot of moves. I really just kind of played the bounces and the breakouts, both on the 5 and the 1 minute chart. See, I took it long on several occasions up through this move here on Wednesday, and then I made about 8 trades on it on Thursday, and a lot of good moves. Again, just stuff buying real low near support, selling, and then again getting a bounce, selling. I was scaling out, just trying some different stuff. I wouldn't have been actually able to make these trades with the same volume of shares that I had done on the paper account, because SureTrader will not let you use margin on stocks below $3. So you can only take positions up to whatever the cash value you have in your account. So for me, it would have been mostly around 200 shares, which is not really good for scalping because you can't overcome the commissions very much. So I went through and I added it up, and over the course of this 2-day move here, I made about $550 on these scalps in profit, and my commissions were almost $150. So that's right around 20% of my profit. If I had been making these scalps with 200 shares instead of 5 or 600 like I was doing, I wouldn't really be able to scale out. I wouldn't be able to make nearly as much money. I didn't price it, but I'd be willing to bet that my profit would have been very, very low, break even, probably under $100. So there is some power in volume buying and holding for very short periods of time. And then on Friday, I did take a trade on Plug. It was gapped up. You see here, it had gapped up on some bullshit news about a deal with Walmart. Walmart was going to sell their products or some shit. So I thought, this is crap. This is definitely going to be a short play today. So you can see here on the 5-minute, gapped up, retested that same area pre-market, and then it started to wash a little bit. So let me actually check. I was watching the 1-minute chart on Thinkorswim at the open, and I noticed it didn't really have any strength here to make a pop, which I kind of figured, again, A, it's Friday, B, the news was crap, and C, it had already started this move back down. So to me, the trend was down. It was crappy news, and Fridays are pretty weak for strong bullish momentum plays. Not always, but I generally have found that stocks don't really have the power or the strength on Fridays that they do throughout the earlier days in the week. So I was looking to short this. So I noticed that this was bottoming here at 244. I put in a sell stop order at 243. So as soon as it broke, I would get in. And I could only take 200 shares because my equity wouldn't allow me to take more than that. Because again, SureTrader won't let you take margin on stocks below $3. So I had 200 shares at 243, got in here, and it bounced, and then it kind of. So on Wednesday and Thursday, and actually even Friday, AEZS made this real nice 3-day move. You can see it had gapped up from down here around $1, and it made a couple points over the course of the 3 days. So pretty rare to see a 3-day move like this on such a inexpensive stock. But I didn't trade this one at the opening on either day, but I made a ton of scalps on it just kind of through the middle of the day, both on Wednesday and Thursday. So on Wednesday, when I saw it reject a VWAP, I moved my stop down to 248. So 5 cents of risk. My target at that point was 15 cents reward. So that's 3-to-1 ratio. That's a good trade. If you've got 200 shares or 1,000 shares, then you should be happy with a 3-to-1 profit, because that means every 3 losing trades you have, 1 winning trade will wipe those out. Now, I lost sight of that in retrospect, and I got a little greedy, and I put in just a range order before I went to work, and I said, hey, you know, if it gets to 248, I'm gonna cover as a stop. But I had also noticed that around 215 there was another support level, and I thought, well, if it gets through that 228, then there's a good chance maybe it'll break down and head down around 215. So I got greedy and I set my low range so it would cover to take profit down here at 218, and took off. And when I got to work, I noticed that it had bounced at 227 and it was starting a move back up. So greed kind of got in my way of logic, right? Because I got concerned about, oh, I've only got 200 shares. If I take 15 cents of profit, I'm only going to be making about 20 bucks after my commissions. And I should have been happy with that 20 bucks. You know, it was a really easy trade. Whether it's 200 shares or 2,000, don't lose sight of the risk versus reward ratio, because it could cost you money. Clearly, it had these 2 points of resistance here at 240. That was a VWAP reject. So I should have just covered once it crossed this line. I could have gotten out around 230, still made, you know, 20 bucks. I ended up getting stopped out at 236 because I was watching it do this, and I saw it dip down here to 231. So I thought, okay, let me put an order in at 232. Once it got up here, I thought maybe it would break down again. I thought maybe I can catch 232 and still make a couple dollars. It ended up stopping me out at 236 once it started moving here. And that was actually pretty smart. You'll see it moved even higher, pushed through VWAP, and then closed at the end of the day. You see all this buying volume. That short's covering at the end of the day. I wanted to cover before all of the kind of the power hours. Sometimes we'll get a big push with shorts covering, just getting out of a position because they don't want to hold over the weekend. So I wanted to try to get out sooner before all that happened. So it cost me some money. You know, just when I think like, oh, I'm getting the hang of this and I know what I'm doing, the market is very quick to humble me and tell me, hey, you know what? You still have a lot to learn. So I do feel good about it. On Fridays, I generally try to work on shorting because I feel like that's the weaker side of my trading. I have a better eye for long breakouts, I think, than for short position breakdowns. So I felt good about the trade, even though it was flat. Let me know what you traded this week in the comments below. There was a lot of opportunities. I felt like the bears were kind of in control this week. Earnings season's right around the corner, so there should be a lot of volatility coming up, and I'm looking forward to making some of those trades. So drop me some comments, guys. Thanks.